I love that all five members present.
Yes, on time.
Yeah. So Jess, we are
Mhm.
going to go ahead and are you ready? Can we start
Yeah,
with you?
yeah.
Okay.
All right. If you want to share your screen or anything, I just stopped sharing mine.
Yeah, stop sharing yours.
Perfect.
I have a little throat tickle, but I'm okay. But just pardon me if I'm scratchy. All right. Okay, so for the continuing education, I went to a homesteading conference in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So this was like super northern Idaho, right on the border with Washington. Um, when I think of Idaho, I think of potatoes, you know what I mean? And really nothing much else. And it was extremely beautiful. So I was really glad that I could kind of see that part of the country. So this modern homesteading conference, it was a ticketed event. It was at the fairgrounds, up there in this little tiny town outside of Coeur d'Alene, and there were thousands of people that showed up. And so in the homesteading world, there's two major conferences. It's the Modern Homesteading Conference, and I think the Homesteaders of America Conference is another one. And then, so if you're a homesteader in the United States and you're practicing any forms of food production, cottage food production, homeschooling your kids while you work on the farm, you kind of fall under this homesteading umbrella. So this is their brand, Modern Homesteading. They have a magazine, and they also have, many partnerships with different farmers, ranchers, influencers, of course. And then what surprised me was very like religious based, which I wasn't expecting. So a lot of like they would start with an opening prayer, and I mean it makes sense for the demographic. A lot of it in Idaho, especially, you have a lot of Mennonites. You have a lot of people who are practicing this sort of lifestyle in that area tend not, not all of them, of course, but you have a very heavily Christian population. So I took my dad with me up there to get him, out of the house and traveling. And so he really loved that part of it too. And he's, growing up with my mom and my mom's family. We're all very rural, very homesteading family oriented my whole life. So it's about growing your own food. It's about gardening and soil health, livestock, food preservation, family nutrition. So like any, conference that you've attended, you get this big pamphlet and it has, seven different talks occurring every hour. And so this is to give you kind of the scale. It's huge. There were about 4,000 people there at these fairgrounds, and one coffee truck for the entire conference. Yeah, so I think I had one cup of coffee when I was there, which if you know me, I always have coffee, but yeah, so that was crazy. So yeah, this is what I was trying to figure out how this fits in kind of to homegrown Hillsborough food production and then also my anthropological research. As I'm getting my dissertation writing about regenerative sustainable food production in Hillsborough County, well, in Tampa Bay. So this homesteading is always a problem to define, and I kind of gave you some definitions before. But people who practice homesteading don't necessarily call themselves homesteaders, and people who do homestead don't really kind of, care about this moniker, right? This you have people like on Instagram and on socials and on blogs and stuff of, yeah, the homesteading mom and the homesteading life. And look at this, beautiful bucolic setting where I raise my kids. And, that's kind of where homesteading has gone in the media. But actually, as a lived practice, a lot of us, in this room here have homesteading practices and are homesteaders, even if we wouldn't define ourselves as a homesteader. So you just have this, connection to the land. You want a community to share it with. You might have these concerns about the issues with the industrial conventional food system. And then I'm really looking at the relationship between humans and the natural environments in which they live, how humans alter the environment and how the environment therefore alters them. So the food that we're eating, how is that altering our health, right? We know all about that because the way to get the most money in this kind of area is to kind of focus it on health. But for my anthropological data and what I'm interested in is really like how people view themselves in relation to the land. And of course, health is encompassed in that. But it's really about meaning and community and identity, right? How are we passing on this knowledge from one generation to the next? And who gets included or excluded from access to land, access to this kind of knowledge, access to being able to have a garden in your backyard or a community garden, access to one. So, like I said, it was about 4,000 homesteaders there. It was 2 days of speakers, demonstrations, vendors, right? Lots of fun things to purchase. I don't have chickens anymore. My last chicken just died last month. She was like 8, which isn't a crazy age for a chicken. Um, but my sister-in-law has chickens, so I got her this knitted, not knit, like hand sewn apron that had little individual pockets for 1 or 2 eggs each, right? So she puts the apron on and goes out to get the eggs. She has an apron to put the little little eggs in. It was adorable. Um, so it's really, all these people who are selling their goods, right? This is the kind of businesses that they're putting together and crafting around their values of or homesteading values. So you have lots of rural families, small scale farmers, people who are really interested in food independence. You had that spectrum of like, there's a book called Shelter from the Machine that talks about homesteading in Kentucky and how you find people from broad, you know, from all over the spectrum, right? From, he calls them from hicks to hippies, right? You have like the people who are very rural, backcountry, kind of like my family. And then you have the hippies who are like extremely, spiritual, right? They just want to be back to the land, nature. But on the spectrum, and just like in Hillsborough County and Tampa, you have people that fall all along the spectrum, right? Who are still practicing similar agricultural techniques, even if they have different political or, theological ideologies about life. There was a really strong focus on community here. And in particular, they framed their community around these Christian beliefs at this conference, right? But then they still made room for people who weren't, of the Christian faith, which I appreciate, right? So it's not about going off grid. It's not about being, completely disconnected from, you know, the the system, right? Which, a lot of us would love to be when we think about it. But then again, like I love my internet and I love watching Gilmore Girls and I love my electricity and I've lived without it in Mongolia, like so I appreciate it. But it's more about this local food production, resilience, right? This resilient community, resiliency of your food. Of the food that you're eating and this reduction of a dependence on the industrial food system. So it's this growing food, we've seen this, it's a response to rising grocery prices, uncertain climate changes, food insecurity, and then this desire for healthy and stronger communities and food. So major themes here we have, of course, regenerative ag. So a lot of huge focus on healthy soil, composting, and biodiversity. I attended a few lectures just about soil itself, from these biologists and homesteaders who have just completely turned, hundreds of acres of desolate soil into this, beautiful, rich, you know, like gold, that's like black earth that is just gorgeous. Small scale intensive production, so looking at micro farms, backyard gardens, food forest, community gardens, right? Of course, we have education, these workshops, how to break down a pig, how to um, how to like tan a leather hide. They had a bunch of like workshops, especially for kids, right, to keep the kids entertained. But a lot of those I was like, I want to learn how to do that too. And then the community of sharing knowledge, seed exchanges, and then the creation of local networks. So it really kind of embodied what we do in Hillsborough County, just at a larger scale. And then taking the lessons from the homesteading conference to Hillsborough, right? We already have community gardens, we have school gardens, local farms, extension service. We have these residents who are really, really passionate about this work. And then, like we know in Homegrown Hillsborough, we're trying to connect these efforts into a stronger, interconnected food system that is not dependent on the pressures of the industrialized agricultural machine. So, just ideas worth exploring, the expansion of community gardens into different neighborhoods in Tampa. I think the coalition does a pretty great job of this already. So, I just was trying to look for links between Homegrown, of course, and the homesteading conference. Supporting micro farms and more urban farms in the area. So we have a few, right? But I think we could have more, and we could do co-ops, which I'm a huge fan of, that I know, I think Lauren is taking a class on, that comes with food growing education, compost initiatives. We have renewable in Tampa, and then the Tampa composting program, and I think that's about it. But, those are still not very accessible to a lot of people. Backyard food production, seed libraries, and then community tool libraries. Of course, these two, I mean, the community tool library was something that the food production working group here, that was one of the ideas put forth. And then seed libraries are just, I love them as well. So how this conference and how this knowledge supports homegrown. Of course, we have, our food production in the middle, and then it's connected to all of these extremely important socioeconomic and political, right, ramifications that impact our lives daily. So climate, building resilience through these regenerative practices, boosting our local economies by supporting these local farms, creating more green jobs, putting more investment in green practices and regenerative practices that are actually regenerative and don't just, have that certified sticker on it. Um, that means something to grow the community. Equity, creating opportunities for all to grow, share, and access healthy food, and then health, improving the access to the nutritious food. So biggest takeaways here, we have a strong local food system in Hillsborough County, but it needs, just like anything, it can always be improved. Investing in people, knowledge, and community, not just the increase in production. And Tampa and Hillsborough especially is a great example of that because we have, you know, limited space. We have a limit on how many community gardens or backyard gardens or how many chickens we're allowed to have in our backyard, right? So it's investing in the people and knowledge and community, right? Which these were the big focuses of my dissertation. Um, and then, of course, the importance of soil. Teach people how to grow food, build community. Every yard can contribute something. And then local food builds community resilience. All right. And I'm gonna stop sharing. Oh, and then I just made a little like one pager to put up on the thing. I put it in the agenda here. If you guys want to just look at that, that kind of puts everything onto that. Everything from the PowerPoint onto that one pager. And that's it, guys.
That
Nice.
was awesome, Jess. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's a couple, I cannot remember their names. They're like social media homesteaders that, like, when you were talking about it, all I can picture was their faces.
I don't know. Are you talking about the Gaineses?
Yes.
Yeah, they're like a freaking like powerhouse entrepreneurs. I don't think they're doing much actual, like regenerative work
Work.
anymore.
Yeah.
You guys have questions about anything? It's okay if you don't.
Was there any like specific like either organizations or like people that we could look to either like their website or like maybe social media to kind of see what they're doing? Like something that really stuck out to you that like someone is doing that we could look at to either replicate or get ideas from?
Yeah. So there were a few like Joel Salatin, and I can put some links up onto the I'll put it on the agenda and I'll throw it up on like a post that I make on Mobilize about this, right?
Yeah, that'd be
But
great.
a lot of if you've seen like Kiss the Ground or those major
Mhm.
documentaries, um, a few of those farmers who have put in a lot of, like decades of work into transforming their farms from conventional to organic or regenerative farms were featured at the conference, right? And so having their contact information. And then the soil experts were really interesting. And then yeah, I have the whole pamphlet. I can just kind of go through and pick out what I think would be most appropriate.
Cool. That'd be great. Yeah, thanks. And yeah, if you don't mind posting your one pager at least, if you want to share all the slides you can on the food production page, that'd be awesome.
You got
But
it.
great. I'm glad you learned a lot.
I did. Thank you.
All right. I don't see the agenda, Savannah, and I don't remember what was next. Sorry.
Okay. You
Review
see it?
budget.
What you got, George?
So I can share my screen if you'd like, but it's pretty straightforward. We have a complete system and it's basically going to be broken down to it's 80% tools and equipment and 20% for um labor or contracted services.
That's good.
Yeah, so nothing has really changed then from the last time that we spoke, other than getting exact quotes and things like that. The quotes are only good for 10 days, so just depending on how all of the rest of uh things flow, then we would be able to see if we can use that quote or go back. I know also sometimes availability has changed through the process as well. But for the most part, like I think we can stick to the categories staying relatively the same. And this would just be a turnkey system. So everything works together. All of those things, it was put together by a professional solar company for me, who sells the equipment. And so everything works together. And then really we would just be sort of putting it in place of what we have right now.
Great. So once you get like all the quotes and stuff, you can just give them a thumbs up. They'll come and set it up, and it should be good. Is that a good?
Yeah, yeah. So the
Okay.
quotes are
Great.
pretty much done. That part is
Great.
done. The quotes are done. We have exact cost on those things. Um, yeah, so it's basically ordering the equipment. Lead time was based off of the equipment, so they didn't give me a lead time on ordering, and then it would be getting installation started. So coordinating with ourselves and some of the local solar folks, and Travis as well has said he'll come and just make sure that everything makes sense, since I don't have as much experience um with solar and electricity in general. And so he's just there to kind of also make sure that everything is making sense.
Great.
So yeah, it's all just ordered from one place. So it's pretty straightforward. It's just make the order, it gets here, we put it up.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
So what's the next step to go forward?
The next step, I think, would be submitting the contract back to Savannah, getting the checks written. We had some questions. The way that the contract is written, we can only get half at a time, which wouldn't allow us to make the full order. So we just had some questions there. but I think that this was sort of the final step as far as I understand, right, Savannah?
Yeah, I just need the contract. We have the checks made out, and I can talk to you about how to get how we can try to spend. Because the way that we have Homegrown Hillsborough is kind of paying this out is we have you get half the money, you submit receipts, and then you get the second half of the money, just so that we can for like our accounting purposes. And there's something about like numbers on the check. I don't know. Dahlia is the accounting person, but from what I understand, it's like she over $5,000 is like it's like more heavily scrutinized. So we need to make sure that we have all the receipts and stuff. So it was split into two checks, and that's true for the other working groups as well. It's like a half situation. But I can talk to you more, Georgia, offline about how we can try
Yeah.
to find a solution to make. So, if it's like a kit, you need to do the big purchase at once.
So that's what it was, is it was easiest to make the order all from one place. The place that we
Right.
went to had great customer service, and so I actually was able to just give him our parameters and he built everything out and it actually came out under budget, which was even
Yay.
better. He removed shipping and of course tax, and so that is just around 8,000. And so yeah, so we'll just talk about like how that can essentially how we can make that order.
Awesome.
How can we, as a team, help you and move this project forward to completion?
I think we're pretty much just there. It's really just getting the checks written, ordering
Okay,
the ordering, hey, can you stop? Ordering a ordering equipment and stop, please. Sorry. I have an old dog and she gets confused. I took her in May. Anyways, so it's just ordering the equipment, receiving it, and implementing it. And some of that stuff, I don't know that there's anybody here that can help with that those aspects really.
just know you can reach out to us, okay?
Yeah, thank you. And I'm gonna put all of the documents that I have. I made a folder like I did for the cold storage. And I'll upload that into our drive so that it's also visible, or at least a shortcut to it.
Perfect.
So this addresses the solar, correct?
Hmm.
But how about the aquaponics portion of it?
So the thing that's most needed now for the solar is I'm sorry, for the aquaponics is the solar. We have already replaced the greenhouse on our own fundraising. We um we replaced the grow beds and other aspects of the infrastructure last summer. And so this is kind of just the last piece for being able to like plug in the pumps.
Great,
Yeah, I already have somebody that's going to give us fish, and everything else is has either been replaced or is still there.
great. That's great news.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the written proposal explains all of that, so how this increases food production through the summer, how the solar also supports reducing food waste by having cold storage and supporting the cold storage, as well as general farm functionality. So that's what the solar is supporting. So it's for those things, but all of those things were basically based off of having power.
Right.
But I
I have a
tied all of them
question
in.
because I
Yeah.
no, did you? Because I know we normally like have like timelines in our head. Like, was there a specific goal that you had to get some of this completed? I know it wasn't like, this isn't time sensitive, but it's time sensitive based on the constraints of what's going on with the funding, right? But did you have like hey, I want to get all this done, like you and your team by December or whatever? Was that a thing?
I mean, we want it done as soon as possible. We've been waiting for quite a while to find funding for this, so as soon as possible is what we would like to have it done. I can't get lead times until we make the orders.
So that's the next step.
Yep, the next step is signing the contracts, getting the checks, figuring out how that will work, putting in the order, and receiving it.
Good.
So, yeah, I can't really do
So,
much more.
so basically we're done, just waiting for that approval, the financial approval.
Yeah, and Savannah's already sent over the contract, so that part can be finished up today, and then I'll see Savannah later and talk to her more about some of those other aspects, which we've already discussed as well. So yeah, everything is pretty much done, and
Done,
you
yeah.
guys already approved the budget, or the amount. The budget will be, it's broken down, so the quote has been itemized, so it's not just like here's a quote, it's $8,000. It's
Right.
itemized, and then categorized based on some categories that Savannah gave me, that Homegrown had asked for, and all of that is in one workbook. And like I said, I'll put that into the drive so that it's visible, which is what we did for economic development as well.
Yeah.
So
And
all of the
actually,
specs of the equipment are there and the cost of each thing.
Sounds great.
I can
Yeah.
show you guys too where like the reporting is in the drive. Let me share my screen. So in the food production folder, there is a folder called SLP Fiscal Reporting. So this has like the grant as like the contract. It has the indicators that we asked for in the reporting, which is something that we've used for other mini grants last year.
Mhm.
And this is kind of what the reporting looks like. And this is in the folder so that you guys all also have, like oversight of this a little bit. So it kind of shows the installment one, you fill in, you do tell us who the vendor is, the amount, what the item is. These are the categories Georgia was kind of talking about, and these are pretty standard. A lot of them are not relevant to this grant, but it's just like kind of standard. Like she'll probably only use a couple of those. And then if there's other funding besides Homegrown Hillsborough, and then the receipt we want uploaded into that same folder where everything else is.
Yep.
Great.
And I can share my screen and show you the folder that I have as well if you want.
Sure. And also just one last, this is that we have, because of the way our funding is structured, we need, our fiscal year ends in October, so we want this like out of our accounts before then. So
Yeah.
having up to September 1st for the first half, and then as long as we can write that second check, in September, then you have another like year to finish the rest of it. I think you'll finish it before that. But we just want
Yeah.
to make sure that money's out of our account. So there are different tabs down here to see the different like halves of the funding. So
And the quotes that we got are only good for 10 days.
yeah, so
Um,
yeah.
exactly. So we want to secure that as soon as we can. And like I said,
Right.
even since the discussions started, like some of the solar panels became unavailable, things like that. So
Yeah.
it is something that we want to like move forward as quickly as we can with it.
Right.
But here I will show you. Let's see. Sorry, here you go. So here is the overall, this is the folder. It has inside of it the budget, which it also breaks down here percentage wise. Here are the categories that we used and what is coming in and out of each category. And then here's the itemized quote, but also in this folder is the actual PDF quote that we received that has everything in it. And I had it, just double checked by a few people to make sure that it's complete and what we need.
Awesome.
And then here we have a full proposal, which I had written previously, but I updated it to match what we have now. I think it was written with a smaller budget in mind. And then, yeah. So all of these things are there. And like I said, I'll put a shortcut into the the drive so that you guys can view all of that. And I'll probably just put it under that fiscal reporting. Um, like, yeah, so
Same
it's all in
folder,
one
yeah.
spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great. Yeah, put it in the same folder. That would be helpful.
Great.
All right. Do you all want me to talk about the next item on the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So,
driving now. I'm sorry.
okay. So for the August meeting, so our other working groups meet 2 hours once a month, and what we want to do in the August meeting is have all three Homegrown Hillsborough staff join the meeting so that we can get feedback, kind of about how these working groups have been. I know some of you are newer to the working group, so really getting lots of different perspectives. We're trying to figure out what we want to do in the next fiscal year. And if we want to do one large working group, there's been a lot of like overlap with the working groups, or if we want to keep it like this, like how we want to structure working groups moving forward. So we want to kind of get feedback from you all about literally anything and everything that we've done in the working groups. So with that, I wanted to know if you guys want to do 1 2 hour session instead of two online meetings. This would probably be an in-person. You prefer this to be the in-person part, but if you guys are still want to do 2 1 hours, we can. But I think in-person might be a little bit more valuable in this for this. So I wanted to kind of see what you all think about making it a 2 hour meeting instead of 1 hour. And that which day? So that would be August. I think. So you have your two meetings scheduled for the 13th and the 27th. But I don't know which one would you prefer be like a 2 hour meeting, or if you don't want to be 2 hour meeting. I want to hear. I'll stop talking and let you guys tell me what you think.
I'm
So sorry,
perfectly
what?
content with a 1 hour in-person meeting. And the 27th, because I'm not in town on the 13th.
Okay, so you'd rather do 2 hours in person on the 27th?
1 hour in person on the 27th.
Okay, sorry, you
No,
cut out
I
when you said that part.
No, but if it has to be the 2 hours, then fine. 2 hours on the 27th works for me. I just don't think that we have much else to cover other than you guys getting your feedback for it
Okay,
to be a 2 hour meeting.
okay.
Yeah, the
So that was gonna be
27th.
my question, was what was the structure of gathering that feedback?
We haven't like fully like built it all out yet, but probably either some type of like we'll kind of do an anonymous type of survey and then also a discussion with the group. I don't know exactly. We haven't fully figured it out yet because we also kind of need to know if we need to split it or not split it. We also, you guys have probably seen this on the working group page for on the platform. In September, we're going to do a meeting with all three of the working groups to kind of bring together all of the feedback that you guys have given us and see how we need to move forward. And I don't know if there might be a vote or something like that. So in September, we'll have a meeting with all three working groups to do like final kind of figure out what works between all three groups, what everyone kind of thinks. But in this meeting, we want to hear from the smaller groups. So I don't know the format exactly. But I will say, I think if we do the 27th only, I don't think Dahlia will be able to be there, but that's okay. We'll get through it. It'll be okay. But I know she could be there on the 13th. But if you want to just keep your two meetings, I think that's fine too. If you only want to do, I just don't know if an hour will be fully enough, I guess we could also play it by ear. But I'd rather have something structured, so have an idea of what we know. Like if we want to meet on the 13th and then decide if we need to have another meeting or not. Um, I don't know. But if D, you're going to be out of town, I don't know. Any other? I know it didn't really answer your question, Georgia, and I'm sorry I don't have an answer for exactly how we're going to do it.
That's
Um,
okay. That does
but-
answer a little bit though. I think
okay.
like the insight of like you don't think an hour is going to be enough.
It like might be about enough. It really just depends on how much
Right.
feedback there is, and I don't know because we want to, especially because like this working group does have members who weren't part of like the 2 hour meetings. And I
Yeah.
know like Val, you had attended some of the meetings before you were a member, so like that insight will be really valuable, I think, hopefully. um, but and even just as people coming in after, most of the term was almost at, like, you came in with just a few months left of this term. Um, I think this working group will have some different insights than other groups. So I think an hour might be like just right, but I just don't want to like hold you guys from, and I don't want to not be able to finish either.
Yeah, I think maybe just trying it, like what your proposal is trying it on the 13th.
Okay.
The other thing that I kind of thought with that is a lot of times when you're giving feedback, especially if it's like in the moment, we might think about those questions and come back with different answers. Or
Mhm.
sometimes if you answer questions written, I know a lot of times what I see is then people discuss, oh, what did you say about this? What did things like
Mhm.
that. So maybe 2 meetings makes the most sense. That way that we have the option that if it is finished, then it's finished. And
Mhm.
if it's not, then it's a 1 hour meeting. And I think, in that way, D, you get like your 1 hour meeting on the 27th instead of a 2 hour. And we're able to sort of meet the goals of gathering that feedback.
Okay.
Unless there's any, yeah, I don't know. That's
I
kind of
like
my
the
just
idea.
initial take on it.
I like the idea of the 1 and 1 because then we can sort of, like you said, we can think about things the first, after the first one, and then if there is some rollover, we still have another meeting to wrap things up.
Okay. So kind of keep it the way it is, do the 13th virtual, and then determine if the in-person, we'll plan on having the in-person, but if on the 13th we don't need it, then we can just let it go.
At 10:30?
That works. Yeah. I have it for 10:30. Any opposition to keeping the times? 10:30 to 11:30 both days.
Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, sorry, one more thing. We did talk about Lauren doing her
Yeah.
Oh
presentation.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
when do you want to fit that in? I can do either one, or do you want to save it for after we do? It doesn't matter to me, whatever you want to do. It'll
Um
only be probably about 15, 20 minutes if there's questions. But I wanted to talk, I did want to reach out to Jess separately, just about the tie-in with the co-op thing, but they'll give me time to look at that too.
Okay, I would say plan to do it on the 13th,
Great.
so that if we don't need to meet on the 27th, we're not meeting just for your
Okay.
presentation.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
if that works, that'd be great. And thanks Georgia for reminding me about that, because we definitely want to hear your feedback, Lauren. We're very interested in this class that you took.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, plan for the 13th. That would be great. And if you have any questions about like what the expectations are, but I mean, just did a pretty solid presentation of, yeah, give us
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
key takeaways, like what you think we should see, what Homegrown Hillsborough should adopt from what you learned, and yeah, how it can help our community.
That sounds perfect.
Great, thank you.
And thank
Okay,
you,
yeah,
Jess.
so
That gave me a good template to go on, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. And just, yeah, text me or call me if you need anything.
Okay, cool.
great. Okay, and Dee, you said you're going to be out of town. Are you planning on joining virtually or no on the 13th?
to a timeline, that type of stuff, and I will let you know.
Okay, didn't hear the first thing that you said, but I got that you would let us know. And if we need to have like a meeting, with like a separate meeting with you, that's fine to get your feedback.
Okay, sorry, my Bluetooth is acting up.
That's okay.
That's my travel day, so I'm
Okay.
gonna check my flight and see what time that is, and if it corresponds, because I'll be in Central Time Zone anyway, so it should
Okay.
be fine. So I'll
All
let
right.
you know.
Sounds good. All right, that's what I had for you all. Any questions about the feedback or anything? And don't forget to mark your calendars for that September date for the joint meeting. We don't have a location yet, but it's a Friday, September 25th, and I'm sure we'll have like drink tickets or light bites, something like that, because we do also just kind of want it to be a little social when we're done, because you guys don't always get to see each other. So we have that. Yeah, and while I have you guys, I'll also pitch the Homegrown Hillsborough conference is in November. The dates are posted on the platform. We did secure a location. We're gonna have it at the Portico, in downtown Tampa, which should be really cool. And if you're interested in doing a presentation of any kind, a lecture, a panel, a workshop, or this year we're also doing practicums, so like hands-on learning. The application for that is open and it's on the Homegrown Hillsborough platform. I believe the post is pinned. It was posted by Margot, our student employee. Yeah. So we really want to, showcase the knowledge that you guys know. So we'd love to see an application from you guys for presenting at the conference. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. But I'm sure you'll hear plenty more about the conference as it gets closer. But we're excited to have a location secure. The last thing on our agenda here is the meeting ratings, if we want to do those. Unless anyone has anything else before we finish this here.
Sorry.
You're good. All right, 1 through 5. Participation. Jess, how would you rate us?
5.
All right. D.
Fine.
Georgia.
5.
Val.
5.
And Lauren.
5.
All right. What did we accomplish? Did we achieve our goals today? Jess.
Yep, 5.
D.
Yeah, 5.
Georgia.
Same, yep.
Val.
5.
And Lauren.
5.
All right. Were we focused and mindful? How was our listening? Jess.
5.
D.
Fine.
Georgia.
Yep. 5.
5.
And Lauren.
5.
All right. Last one. Did we stick to our agenda and use our time wisely? Jess.
5.
All right. D.
5.
Georgia.
5.
Val.
5.
And Lauren.
5. 5.
All right. So some feedback about these meeting ratings would be great too, to see if these were helpful to you guys or not helpful, or how we can improve keeping track of the usefulness of each meeting.
Okay.
All right. Otherwise, that's all I've got. Anyone else?
Quick question, Savannah. If I were to, since this is just like a weird amount of time, if I were to like leave now and get to the extension office early, is there somewhere like where you and Val are that I could just sit down with my laptop until it's time?
Yeah, I think the room that we're using, I think, should be open. But
Okay,
I don't
cool.
know if anyone has this room booked after us, but I'm gonna say yes because we're here, so there's somewhere we
Okay.
will be here.
There's somewhere I could, yeah, I don't really,
Yeah.
yeah, but I just wanted to check in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
So I'll
the
probably
room we're
just
gonna
head
be in
there.
should be open. Yeah, that's fine.
So can I just ask, double checking, the 13th and the 27th, which one's in person and which one's virtual?
The 13th is virtual and the 27th is in person.
Thank you.
Yep. Great. Nothing further?
That's it.
It's awesome.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
See you
Bye.
soon.